Well, let me turn the microphone over to someone else here. Lamar, do you mind if I bring you in? Sure you are. Lamar obviously has a wealth of pioneering experience in technical diving, and now by building the Optima rebreather. I was hoping you would share maybe some of your pet peeves or what you think are kind of current issues for us to look at today in rebreather diving, or rebreather cave diving specifically.
Yeah, I
Step up to the mic there.
My specialty is cave diving, so anything I talk about with bailouts or anything like that is all based around cave diving. I agree with Jill 100%. When I get students, I don't train anybody on a rebreather unless they're already a cave diver looking to use a rebreather in a cave. Because I use their open water class to get them ready for all the drills and everything that would go on inside a cave environment. So I turn down open water students all the time who want to go wreck diving on a breather. So I focus primarily on some of the issues with cave diving with rebreathers. And I think I know why Jill brought me up here, because the bailout scenario seems to be one of the biggest plays in terms of watching people dive on a rebreather. And so when we talk about cave diving, it's always about redundancy. For everything you do, there's a backup. So with a rebreather, it's the same thing. There should be redundancy on the rebreather. But if the loop fails for whatever reason, you rip a hose off, anything like that. Some guys think they can take rebreathers into places where they would normally just take side-mounted cylinders, and shit can break. So you have to make sure you have enough bailout gas to get yourself out. Well, I've seen various ways of managing bailout gas on rebreathers in a cave that just don't seem right if you have a true cave diving mentality. And that being said, the way I look at it is that redundancy is also in your bailout. So when you're diving a set of doubles or whatever, you have twin cylinders. If you're diving side mount, you have twin cylinders. So your bailout bottles for your rebreather should also be managed in 2 cylinders. So you never go in with a single 80. That's me, and I'll argue that point with anybody around if they want to. But you should never be going in with bailout in a single bottle. Okay, 240s, basically 80 cubic foot of gas. And I base that on any doubles dive you do anywhere around here on a set of 104s. This is basically 3 aluminum 80s. And your gas management is a third in, a third out, and a third for emergencies. Meaning you should be diving with no less than 80 cubic feet of bailout gas on your person at any time. But that should not be managed in a single cylinder. It should be managed in 2. This gives you a lot of flexibility. For me personally, the right-hand bottle is my bottle. If I'm diving dry, I'll plumb that into the dry suit. I don't dive with a BOV, I dive with the regulator from that one coming up around my neck right here. So even if you're on a BOV, you've still got to reach up and turn a valve. I can flip this off and put that reg in my mouth. That is my bottle. You'll never get it, okay? The left-hand bottle, on the other hand, if you are in a situation where you've had to bail out and you've exhausted your left-hand bottle, then I'll trade you and give you my full one because we're on the way out. And by that point, we should be close enough to the entrance that I don't mind giving up half of my bailout gas. Because the rule of thumb is that for a team, there should be 1.5 times the gas needed to get any diver out among the team. So by my giving you one of my bottles and the 2 you have, you've got at your disposal 120 cubic feet on what was planned for 80 cubic foot of bailout. Okay? So that's how I look at bailout management. So at the same time, when you go deep, those 40s are replaced with 80s. So I'm not making any transition in terms of how I manage my bailout, except for the bottle size based on what we're doing. So I feel real strong on that carrying a single bottle for bailout, regardless of where you are, puts yourself in a lot of issues. When it comes to bailout gas, if your buddy has a problem and he's breathing on that one bottle, and a situation comes up where you have to trade bottles with him to give him more gas, I don't care what's in that bottle, but when you get it, you're not going to think he's giving you a half full bottle. It's half empty. Okay? And I don't like that thought when I'm inside a cave. So anyway, that's how I like to manage a bailout. Based on a rule of thumb, if you're diving a set of 104s, the same range that you can do on a set of 104s, you can do with 80 cubic foot of bailout. Now the difference, and I see a lot of open circuit cave divers looking at rebreather divers thinking we're crazy in that, well, they just went on a 3-hour dive and all they did was come out with 240s. That's not enough gas. Well, if you base the range of the dive, that's the nice thing about the rebreathers is that you can turn around and go in the devil's ear, plan a dive, where maximum penetration may only be 2,000 feet based, on what it would take you to get out. But then when you come back close to the entrance, you can turn around and take another line. You can do a radius of never being more than 2,000 foot from the entrance. And this 80 cubic foot of gas is enough, but now you've been underwater for almost 3 hours. Okay, so that's the whole point of being over the rebreather, being able to extend your bottom time and decrease your decompression time, not increase your distance without increasing the bailout gas you take. And you can do that by either, self-sufficient gas management, team management, stage bottles, or on some dives, especially when we're pushing, it's a combination of all three in terms of how we manage the gas. But yeah, for me, bailout is a real pet peeve the way I see people doing it sometimes. I do not agree with carrying a single 80 for a bailout. Bird, Bill Ostrick, guys know Bird? He's the one that called me with his little episode in here one day, which changed my mind completely on that, because he had a single 80 bailout. He was on his Optima. He forgot to reset the stack timer. So when the stack timer goes off, it gives you a warning of the Diva, the vibrator will vibrate, and it'll flash at you. Well, any other time when that Diva goes off, it is time to get off the loop. Then look at everything and see what's going on. The Diva went off. He went, oh shit, reached down, turned the 80 on, and blew an HP hose. So now he's trying to deal with the lesser of two evils. So he started checking his PO2s, realized everything was good on the rig, stayed on it, but now it was coming out from 2,500 feet with no available bailout gas. So why put all your eggs in one basket? Okay, 2 bottles. Manage it so that you can hand off the left to help a team member, and the right's yours all the time. So that's my bailout thing.
Thanks, Lamar. Sage advice. I fully, wholeheartedly agree.